Chapter 1. The exhaustion. You know that feeling when you hang up the phone after talking to someone and just feel drained? Like they didn't yell, didn't insult you, but somehow you walk away feeling wiped out. Maybe it's that coworker who always needs help, that friend who only calls when there's drama, or that family member who makes you feel like you have to walk on eggshells. And if you feel the guilt, let me stop you right there. Nothing is wrong with you. That tiredness you feel is real. It's not weakness. It's not because you're antisocial or heartless. It's something psychologists have studied for decades. Here's what most people never notice. Every conversation has a second layer, an invisible one. You're not just talking. You're managing emotions, reading the other person's mood, adjusting what you say so they don't get upset. Psychologists call this emotional labor. With some people, this happens naturally and goes both ways. But with energy drainers, it's one-sided. You're doing all the work while they coast along, totally unaware of how much energy you're spending. Chapter 2. What's really happening? Carl Jung, one of the early giants of psychology, discussed something that I'd call mental vampirism. He observed that some people unconsciously feed off the mental and emotional energy of others. Not because they're evil, but because they never developed the ability to create their own emotional stability. So they end up pulling it from whoever's around them. Jung also described participation mystique, a state where the line between two people's emotions gets blurry. With energy-draining people, those lines vanish. Their anxiety becomes your anxiety. Their chaos becomes your chaos. Fast forward to today, and neuroscience backs this up. Our brains literally sync with the people around us, thanks to mirror neurons. Dr. Elaine Hatfield's research on emotional contagion shows that emotions spread between people, just like viruses do. When you're around someone who's anxious, your body unconsciously mirrors that anxiety. Chapter 3. The 4 energy drainers. The constant crisis person. Every time you talk to them, something's going wrong. And every problem feels urgent, like it needs your full attention, like right now. The constant crisis person is stuck at the bottom, always chasing stability, but never finding it. Here's the catch. They're not really looking for solutions. They're looking for relief. Your emotional involvement is what keeps them afloat. The conversational black hole. This person talks non-stop about themselves. You mention something that happened to you, and they immediately have a better story. Psychologist Alfred Adler talked about the inferiority complex. Some people feel so small inside that they overcompensate by dominating every conversation. You do all the listening, nodding, and caring, and get nothing in return. The subtle underminer. They seem nice, even supportive, but their words have a hidden sting. I got promoted, you say. They reply, that's great, though I heard those roles burn people out fast. Freud wrote about passive aggression, when someone has built up anger but can't express it directly, so it leaks out sideways. The exhausting part isn't their words, it's the guessing game you play afterward. The emotional dumper. This person treats you like their unpaid therapist. Every time they call, it's a flood of problems, stress, and drama. They unload everything. No filter, no pause. This comes from a lack of emotional regulation. Viktor Frankl noticed in his book Man's Search for Meaning that people who lack inner purpose often fill that void by consuming others' attention. Your body feels it too, your nervous system reacts as if those problems are your own. Chapter 4. They're never satisfied. Abraham Maslow said humans operate from 2 kinds of needs, deficiency needs and growth needs. Deficiency needs are about survival, things like safety, belonging, and self-esteem. When those needs aren't met, people feel anxious, incomplete, or insecure. People who constantly drain your energy are usually stuck in those deficiency needs. They're running on empty, they feel unsafe, unloved, or not good enough. And they try to fill that emptiness through you. They look for your attention to feel seen, your reassurance to feel safe, your emotional energy to feel whole. But here's the hard truth. You can't fill someone else's void. It's like pouring water into a bucket with no bottom. No matter how much you give, it's never enough. You're fighting a battle you can't win. You can pour out empathy, advice, patience, but it won't stick, because their emptiness isn't about you, it's inside them. Chapter 5. Why you keep engaging. The guilt trap. If these interactions are so draining, why do you keep picking up the phone? The answer is simple. Guilt. Deep, automatic guilt that kicks in before you can even think. Most of us were raised to believe that being a good person means being available. It means not letting others down, putting their needs before your own. So when you think about setting a boundary, your brain panics. It whispers, they need you. What if they have no one else? That guilt feels real, but it's not truth, it's old programming. You're not abandoning anyone by protecting your peace. In fact, feeling guilty is often a sign that you're doing something healthy. Reciprocity bias and social debt. Dr. Robert Cialdini found that one of the strongest human instincts is reciprocity. When someone gives us something, we automatically want to give something back. Energy drainers often trigger that instinct. They'll do small favors, give you compliments, or share something personal. Then they start collecting on that debt. They expect your time, your attention, your emotional support. But here's the problem. The exchange is never balanced. You keep giving and giving, but the scales never even out. You're stuck trying to repay a debt that never existed in the first place. The good person identity. Carl Jung talked about the persona, the mask we wear to be accepted. For many caring, empathetic people, that mask looks like the helper, the reliable one, the person everyone can count on. It becomes part of who you think you are. So when you even consider stepping back from someone who's draining you, it feels like betrayal. You start thinking, if I'm not there for them, am I still a good person? That fear keeps you trapped. But here's the truth. Being a good person doesn't mean being available 24/7. Real compassion includes compassion for yourself. Setting boundaries doesn't make you cold. It makes you sustainable. Chapter 6. The Empathy Trap. If you're the kind of person who feels other people's moods instantly, who can walk into a room and sense tension before anyone says a word, then you probably have strong empathy. That's a beautiful trait. But it's also what makes you a prime target for emotional overload. Psychologist Elaine Aron, who studied highly sensitive people, found that some people's nervous systems are simply wired to pick up more detail, more tone, more microexpressions, more emotional signals. It's not weakness, it's biology. Your radar is sharper, but that also means more noise gets in. So what's the cost? You feel responsible for other people's happiness. You carry guilt for problems you didn't cause. And slowly, you start confusing empathy with duty. Dr. Charles Figley called this compassion fatigue, the emotional burnout that happens when caring turns into constant exposure to pain. It's common in therapists, nurses, and caregivers, but regular people experience it too, especially those who are the go-to listener in their group or family. Here's the hard truth. When you are always the emotional first responder, your own system starts to shut down. You stop feeling joy. You zone out. You get numb. Not because you don't care, but because your brain is trying to survive the overload. That's why you might feel both too sensitive and emotionally empty at the same time. It's not a contradiction, it's burnout. The fix isn't to stop caring, it's to learn when to stop absorbing. Empathy doesn't require absorption. You can understand someone's pain without taking it into your own body. You can care about someone's struggle without making it your own. Jung emphasized the importance of maintaining psychological boundaries, even in intimate relationships. Healthy empathy looks like this. I can see you're in pain. I understand why you feel that way. I care about you. Unhealthy absorption looks like this. Your pain is now my pain. Your problem is now my problem. The difference is subtle but profound. Empathy with boundaries allows you to be present and supportive without being consumed. To remind yourself, feeling their pain doesn't mean it's yours to solve. Empathy should connect you to others, not erase you in the process. Chapter 7. Protect your energy. You know the airplane rule, put on your own oxygen mask first. It's not selfish, it's survival. Viktor Frankl wrote that we have a duty to protect our own well-being. You can't do that if you're depleted. Your well-being isn't negotiable. Protecting your energy is wisdom, not coldness. You can't show up for others if you abandon yourself. Think about the people who truly matter. Your partner, your close friends, maybe your kids. They deserve the best version of you. You have limited energy. You get to decide how it's spent. And that's impossible if you're giving all your energy to people who never give any back. Chapter 8. Responding, not absorbing. Murray Bowen used a term called differentiation of self, being able to stay you even when someone else is emotional or upset. When your differentiation is low, other people's feelings instantly become yours. When it's high, you can stay grounded. You can hear their story, empathize, and even comfort them. without carrying their emotions inside you. This is the key skill. You can care without carrying. There's a Buddhist concept called compassion without attachment. It means you can truly care about someone's suffering without making it your mission to fix it. Empathy says, I see your pain and I care. Over-responsibility says, I see your pain and it's my job to fix it. You can support someone, but that doesn't mean carrying their weight. Sometimes real compassion means stepping back, trusting they'll find their own way. Different relationships require different strategies. For co-workers, keep things professional. Stay polite but firm. For friends, sometimes a slow fade is the kindest move. Respond less often. Stop initiating contact. For family, well, this one's the hardest. But you can still manage exposure, keep visits short, call instead of meeting in person. The goal isn't to be cruel or distant, it's to make the relationship sustainable. Chapter 9. When to leave. Not every draining relationship needs to end. Sometimes good people are just going through a rough patch. The question is this temporary or permanent? Temporary drain looks like this. They're in a real crisis. They know they're leaning on you more. They say thank you. And when things calm down, the balance returns. Chronic drain looks like this. There's always a new crisis. They never notice the imbalance. This pattern has been going on for months or years. They don't actually change anything. If you're constantly exhausted, resentful, or anxious before every interaction, that's your answer. You don't need a dramatic reason to step back. Chronic depletion is reason enough. Here's what you need to hear. You're not abandoning anyone by protecting your peace. You're not being cruel by choosing yourself. Sometimes the most compassionate thing you can do is step back, even if they don't understand it. Once you've created space, you finally have room for healthy connection. Carl Jung called this individuation, becoming more of your true self. Healthy relationships feel different. You leave feeling lighter, not heavier. The conversation flows both ways. They remember what you tell them. They respect your boundaries. If you've made it this far, you probably recognize these patterns. The constant listener, the fixer, the one who keeps showing up even when it costs you peace. Here's what you need to know. The exhaustion is real, and protecting yourself doesn't make you selfish. It makes you self-aware. The truth is, some people will keep taking, as long as you keep giving. Not because they're evil, but because that's how they survive. Still, it's not your job to be their endless source of stability. You can care about someone deeply and still draw a line. You can understand why they behave that way and still decide it's not healthy for you. That's not coldness, that's clarity. Start small. Notice who leaves you lighter and who leaves you drained. Trust that information, your nervous system doesn't lie. Then make one small change, one boundary, one honest conversation, one moment where you choose peace over guilt. Over time, you'll see it clearly. The people who truly belong in your life don't drain your energy. They respect it. They give back what you give. And being around them feels like breathing fresh air again. Your energy is sacred, you know. Guard it.